All right. It's not that big a difference, except now that if anybody actually joins in the call, they can see us. So, all right, people are starting to come on in. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to another month of CSINext. And we've got a great presentation for you. It's not quite exactly the presentation we had previously promised you, but we have a really good explanation for that. And you will hear all about what's going on. So I'll just give everyone a few more minutes to file in. So we'll probably get started at about 5 after. Meanwhile, I hope everyone out there is doing well and staying safe and healthy and trying to keep your sanity in check. I know that's the uphill battle here. Looking to see who's joining us. Great, 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 great. So while we are waiting to get started, I'm just going to remind you all to put on your calendar next month's presentation, which will be May 6th, the first Thursday in May, and we're going to be talking to Cathedral Stone, who's going to be telling us all about stone restoration and working with stone on things like the National Cathedral and St. Patrick's in New York. It should be a really great presentation, and keep your eye on your email for details of that coming very soon, I hope. So we have a great presentation from PPG that we will be ready to start with. And we're just going to give everybody a few more minutes to come on into the meeting. And so forgive my soft pattering and sounding like a silly person. All right. Yes, and at any point of time during the presentation, if you have questions or comments or anything to say to our presenters, please throw them in the Q&A, throw them in the chat. I'm going to keep an eye on both of those during the presentation. And Lynsey and Dean have graciously agreed to take questions as they come in. So, and I know that they would like questions, they would like interactions. All right. Wayne, you and me both. We're looking forward to next month as well. So, all right, we have got folks coming in. Yeah, Lynsey, feel free to throw your PowerPoint up whenever you feel like it, so people know that they're in the right spot.
Okay, we can do that.
All right. So I'm going to give it just a few more minutes, but as I say, and forgive me for repeating myself, folks, but if you have questions that come up during the presentation, throw them in the Q&A, throw them in the chat. We'll try to get to those as they come up. And Lynsey's also going to tell us about some of the fantastic research they're doing with the science of color at PPG here. So I'm going to give it just about one more minute, and then I will throw it over to our esteemed presenter. I hope the weather's starting to get warmer for everybody. We're finally getting up to the 50s here in northern Idaho, and it's lovely. The snow is gone.
We've been hitting the 70s. It's so nice. Although we've dropped to mid 30s overnight a couple of nights, so the plants haven't gone out of the house just yet, but it is very nice. Dean has kept his snow and his cold, which I don't do very well at all. I'm grumpy. So Dean has kept that to himself.
Right.
I've been getting my exercise. Springtime snow is a little heavy. So I live on a corner lot, and it's about 250 shovelfuls, and they each weigh about 25 pounds. So.
So you don't need to go to the gym anymore, right?
No, no, my arms hurt enough. I've done enough gym for one season.
Yes, and Daniel's letting us all know that it's 88 degrees in Tucson right now, to which we say thank you, Daniel, for rubbing it in.
Right?
If you want any of our Colorado water, you're going to stop teasing us there, Daniel. Yeah.
It is about 5 after, so I'm going to hand it over to Lynsey here. Lynsey is with PPG. She's worked in the industry for well over 10 years now, with the majority of that in the commercial sector. She has a passion for color and design work, and she's worked with a lot of architects, a lot of owners, and some great people. And Lynsey, thank you very much for bringing this up. Now, do fill us in on what's going on with the science of color at PPG, because I know that was one thing we were all very interested in.
Yes, and I'm going to, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm very happy to sit on this and present to you today. I want to apologize right off the bat. We received the request about the science of color really hitting in the trauma side of things and the trauma industry. So when we were looking through that and starting our research on it, we actually started getting multiple requests for different color palettes and how colors work and everything. So our research went from, okay, let's look at a presentation, to let's actually dive into this and let's look at the autism spectrum and the side of things for, dementia and Alzheimer's. And then it took another turn in it, and we started looking at, prisons and how prison and the color in prisons affect people and how it affects them mentally and emotionally, moving from being incarcerated to the after side of things, and how you should redo color in that, aspect as well. So we really had to put a screeching halt on things and say, okay, now we've got a ton of research and a ton of information behind us. So how are we going to organize this and make this really work and compile it, not just into a presentation, but now people are asking for true color palettes and different things that they can utilize for the different spectrums that we're looking at. So with that being said, I apologize greatly. We had to switch it up on you. I gave a couple of different options. The healthcare and wellness section and presentation that we're working through today is going to be a great alternative. It's still going to give you a little bit of what colors to utilize in different areas and the why behind it. But the presentation that we're going to be giving and we are working on has just, it has surpassed. We could probably talk for 3 hours about what you guys initially asked for. So we are working on it. We do hope to bring it in the very near future, where it will be brought to you. But just as quick as we can get that done.
Yes. And CSINext is committed to bringing that presentation to all of our members. And so keep your eyes peeled. We'll probably do a bonus presentation, and then we get to hear all about it. So
absolutely.
Excellent.
So I'm going to take just
looking forward to that.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And I appreciate your understanding and patience for us having to kind of change it up a little bit. But I didn't want to give you something that we hadn't drove home yet, because that's one thing we pride ourselves on is all the research and development and driving the information home. So I do want to take a quick moment and introduce Dean Lashek. Dean is with me today as my producer. Also a very, very integral part of the team in Colorado. Dean's in the Denver area, but he covers the entire state of Colorado, and he is our product knowledge guru. So if you have any questions on products as we're going through this, please feel free to ask. So I'm the color guru, he's the product knowledge and support guru, and we are here as a team to show you what we can do and how we can help you moving forward with any of your paint and coatings needs and questions. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick this right off and get started for you. So the American healthcare system has seen mounting pressures. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop my video so I don't take up too much bandwidth. Sorry about that. Okay. The American healthcare system has seen mounting pressures to streamline its revenues in the face of declining industry margins and uneven quality of care and the continuation of the growing demands that come up with healthcare and the trends and the wellness and what's moving forward with that. So in this presentation, we're actually going to delve into some of these upcoming challenges that are facing the health and wellness industry. We're going to highlight the innovative solutions and what designers have produced to elevate that patient experience in those facilities. So for those that don't know, our global headquarters is Pittsburgh. This year actually seeing our global headquarters building. It is 1 PPG Place, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with this PPG logo here at the top. I'm sure you're probably also familiar with the PPG Pittsburgh paint line and the Porter paint line, and even Glidden, one of our greatly loved products. One thing that you need to be aware of is everything is now under the PPG and PPG Paints brand. So you're not going to see the glitter, the Porter, or the Pittsburgh paints anymore. We have really done a brand consolidation. And by doing that, we've taken our very top lines from Pittsburgh, Glidden, and Porter, and we've brought them in under the PPG Paints umbrella. So you'll see a little bit of changes there. If you have any changes in your specs or you need any crossover information, Dean is very happy to help get that taken care of. You'll also notice that we no longer sample the colors for Porter, Glidden, and Pittsburgh. So if you have any colors that you need crossed over, I'm very happy to take care of that for you. This is a small portion of our global color team and the expertise and the approach that we put together when we bring this information. So when I say that we've been researching and developing this, it's not a joke. We have hundreds of people from all over the countries, of multiple countries, that come together to really drive this information home and determine what's going on and what's moving forward. So this is 26 of our stylists from 8 different countries, and they're across 5 business segments. So whether you realize it or not, PPG impacts your lives every single day. We have automotive and aerospace, consumer products, electronics. You know, we're on motorcycles and 75% of the vehicles on the road. The majority of the products that you utilize as far as electronics, Apple, Dell, Samsung, and we are on all kinds of things, and we're international. So we are the largest coating company in the world because we are global. When it comes to our color forecasting, we have 26 stylists around the globe that are speccing these colors. They're for 5 different segments. So you've got, of course, like I mentioned, the aerospace, the automotive, consumer products. We've got architecture. So we're all over, and we coat so many different things. And these stylists come together to really drive this home and come up with this information. And they're across 8 different countries. So we gravitate towards different colors and different points in our lives based on our demographics and our lifestyles and interests and the societal influences. So why do we like the camouflage green now? Well, that green with a hint of blue, it's a result of our society and that need and that want and desire to be closer with nature. It's blended with more of that natural feel. It allows us to feel reassured and protected. In other words, the military, they make us feel protected. So that's one reason why we gravitate toward that camouflage color and giving it a hint of blue to it. So the fashion influencers and the home decor market, they look at these influencers as well, but they're going to customize their runway directions to what works with their, their fashion and their home decor. And what it is that really truly resonates with what customers want to see in the hotels and the retail and even the healthcare space. PPG is an industry member of WGSN, the world's leading fashion and consumer trend forecasting service. So we personally attend as many of the design and automotive and consumer electronics shows and all the conferences that we can possibly attend, so we can share this data throughout our global coloring styling team. Today, this presentation is IDCEC approved, and I have registered it. So we have paid for this class to be part of the IDCEC program today. And we will have at the very end a way for you to get your IDCEC credits should you choose to go that route. And it is AIA presentation. And at the end, we'll also have information on how you can register and get information so we can get you registered for your AIA credits. And that begins the portion of our AIA presentation. So what is shaping the healthcare design now? Access to healthcare has been a key component for the American political landscape of pretty much the last decade. It was a battleground of American partnership and enduring multiple overhauls and even a directional change to the point where the American public became exhausted with the healthcare issue and the affordability and how that plays a key role in advancing access to healthcare. When it comes to acute care, some of our challenges are the people are living longer and fuller lives. They aspire to retain their independence for as long as possible. So even in a context that's so promising about our future abilities, our personal experiences and our encounters in the healthcare system, they're called to help treat people with great dignity and warmth and as much as possible. When it comes to behavioral health, reflecting the growing awareness about the mental health issues, and as a response to the national opioid abuse crisis, hospitals have actually begun to recognize that they need to provide some specialized care for the impaired patients. And that even looks into the coronavirus and how we're dealing with it now. So according to science, a minimum of 1 to 3 months of strict distancing will likely be required in the US. And we've gone through that now, right? That was just the beginning though. Our battle with COVID-19 will likely extend far beyond that, especially if SARS-CoV-2 waxes and wanes with the seasons, or our immunity to the virus doesn't hold up for more than a few months or even a few years. So until this vaccine is available to everyone, the world may actually be in limbo with the distance policies that are tightening up and when they're relaxing and the flare-ups or this, subsiding. So according to Gideon Lynchfield at MIT Technology, their review says that we need to be prepared to do multiple periods of social distancing. That came directly from Stephen Kistler, an infectious disease researcher. So when we look at innovative design solutions in healthcare, we want to make sure that we're delivering value to consumers. That's become very critical, and it's a very adamant part of the healthcare design. By developing a broader and more holistic consumer-centric approach, healthcare providers can successfully orient themselves towards prevention on conscious management of health and by expanding to the economic and social aspects of a patient's life. Here we need to reconfigure spaces and optimize the patient's experience. So that's when we kind of look towards micro hospitals. The traditional healthcare facilities, they may actually lose some patients to more affordable and effective care settings. These may be located closer to the community, and it may actually include a surgery or radiology and even some emergency departments and some of those related services that we would go to a larger hospital for. One leading solution that we see, healthcare providers are opting for a micro hospital. They're typically only about 15,000 to 50,000 square feet in size. They're going to be open 24/7, and they're providing 5 to 15 inpatient beds, but that's just for observation and a short stay use. This model actually offers greater accessibility and convenience for residents, and it's a very cost-effective market growth strategy for the providers. So in community hospitals, we're seeing an increasingly large recognition that society determines the health and the socioeconomic status and the housing and the nutrition, and it'll all affect health status as much or as more than the medical care for the population at large. Healthcare organizations can only go so far in affecting the social issues. So having a relationship with the community resources that can really help manage the critical needs and really put into consideration the must-have for the health system, particularly those with higher Medicaid or unserved population. This adequate behavioral health service, it will continue to meet and really hit that need that's in many communities. So have you ever thought about going shopping, picking up your shoes, maybe getting your jewelry clean, and then stopping off to have, a CAT scan done at the mall? Well, it's looking like you can do that now. Shopping mall clinics. It's an approach that serves not only a convenient-minded patient, but it also supports providers' interest that it's in growing market shares. There are more and more medical procedures that are moving into like the strip mall areas. And thanks to high deductible insurance plans, they're turning patients into penny pinchers. So while delivery of healthcare services continue to improve, many of these day-to-day services and procedures can be performed right outside of a hospital. And in these community locations, they're much easier and much more convenient for the customer. So we're really going to look at a connected community care. We see many hospitals embracing the trend of removing the outpatient services from the traditional larger hospitals and moving them into a more consumer and customer-friendly hospital-like influenced environment. The new medical buildings that are near the shopping malls or transportation nodes. These aren't just spaces that feel more hospitality and more hospital. They create that operational efficiency and they improve clinical outcomes and they reduce readmission rates. There's also a growing recognition that larger parts of the inpatient hospital experience can be accommodated in less hospital-like environments, and patients really prefer this. So after the coronavirus pandemic starts to ease, we really don't expect the world to return to business as usual. With this shift accelerating, it's actually a number of trends. Coronavirus has pushed the fundamental questions about the way our society operates into the forefront of discussions. This is a reinforcing consumer attitude towards mitigating the damage of impact of climate change and other global issues. So we have now the great digitalization. We need to work to assure collective fear and anxiety go through strategies that create a sense of security. We're now going to go beyond your role as business to be a pillar that shows up for the consumer in times of crisis. And by doing that for the healthcare sector, we're going to have some innovative design solutions. So these advances in modern technology are driving an increasing in a cost efficiency and accessibility of healthcare services on a global scale. I don't know how many of you have experienced it, but I personally have had 3 or 4 virtual visits with my doctor over the last year, year and a half. So 40% of American consumers would be willing to consult with a non-traditional healthcare provider. And 54% of consumers say they would be willing to engage with artificial intelligence and robotics for their healthcare need. And that's where we were directly pushed when the coronavirus pandemic hit. So as criticism around the carbon impact and large-scale international events continue to grow, these creative solutions have the potential to offer an alternative way to move us forward, and it'll allow for people to do their jobs without necessarily having to travel around the world or even into your local doctor's office. So virtual reality becomes a very critical planning tool for hospital design. As VR technology becomes smaller and more mobile, architects and designers have grown increasingly able to collaborate with healthcare clients. When it comes to designing these complex spaces, such as operating rooms, VR benefits both parties. With its interactive capabilities embedding immediate design feedback, facility efficiency and safety is predicted to increase from VR planning. A VR headset technology breakthrough is the traditional limitations of a screen. So now we're looking at more of the distance and the remote care. And they've been problematic when it comes to provide patients with access to specialized care. But this telemedicine, it allows us today to provide services where there were none or there were very little. We're bridging that digital divide, and it's also providing opportunity for increased consultation, and it empowers medical professionals in their decision making. The agility and the flexibility of these new avenues of service deliver will help trace a roadmap to more accessible health, especially in communities that have no health care available to them. Telehealth. So in clinics and operating theaters, they're starting to include video equipment and streaming capacity to connect with providers and specialists in other locations. However, digital healthcare technology solutions addressing a better diagnostic and more personalized therapeutic tools, they're leading the change of data protection. The trend is data management, and security included conjunctive computing. It's a cloud-based system and interoperable electronic health records, and both really determine the Internet of Things. Theology, improving patient services through AR, VR, and even automation. Virtual reality services, they give us a capability to immerse patients in a space and then taking them out of reality altogether. The automation to move supplies and food to patient floors or automating lab testing and building control system, these solutions help cut costs. They increase efficiency and they eliminate waste. So automation and aging. This is probably one of my favorite things to talk about. This right here is Pepper. And Pepper loves to go into working with her senior living residents. And this is something that Pepper is in Japan, and she's an actual robot. And she goes into her area with her senior living patients, and she actually works and moves and gets them to interact with her to get the patients to work and move. It's said that by 2050, the number of people in the world will age over 60 is projected to be more than double. And by 2025, Japan will face a shortage of about 380,000 caregivers for the elderly. By creating Pepper, this is said to increase the capabilities of being able to work and live and continue the healthcare innovation for the senior living facilities. So looking more as to life after the coronavirus, self-isolation strategies, they're forecasted to lead to negative mental health and more somber contemplative mood among people that are affected by the coronavirus. As people prioritize emotional well-being, both during and after the crisis, we should expect a value shift to continue to take hold as they increasingly question what brings fulfillment in their lives. With that stated, we see that hospitals are starting to take notes from the hospitality industry, and they're really creating comfortable environments. Hospitals across the US are embarking upon projects to replace or refurbish aging facilities. As part of their effort to improve healthcare environments, designers are increasingly talking and taking into consideration the physical, emotional, and spiritual need of patients, families, and their staff members. Designing a better hospital recovery room, it's inspired by first-class plane seats. You can actually see here where each individual little cubicle has what you would expect to see in a first-class plane seat. They're starting to take more inspiration from the airline industry, and they suggest looking at how the airline staff quickly clean and prepare planes after leading to find a better place to improve patient turnaround times. We're also looking at seamless integration of natural elements. So biophilic design, we've talked about it for years and years, but it's important and imperative in the healthcare industry. Natural elements such as terraces and balconies, rooftop gardens, and interior courtyards, they provide patients, families, and staff access to nature and daylight, which is believed to accelerate the healing process, reduce stress, and promote a general feeling of well-being, as well as improve clinical and operational outcomes. So keeping in mind the constraints and the opportunities that we've just covered, the following slides will go into further detail of how to use specific color schemes while designing spaces that are dedicated to wellness, recovery, and even treatments. Here we look at the softer touch. So this palette is a mix of very calming and natural, warmer hues. It's ranging from some fleshy neutrals and pale yellows to really earthy browns and stone-type grays. Together, these create a discreet and neutral feeling palette. It puts the mind at ease, and that's exactly what is needed in the healthcare settings. These complete palette, it's a simple base on a natural neutral, enlivened by adding a delicate pastel to the mix. So favoring design choices that amplify a deepening sense of quietness and a search for purity. It's a sensorial relief, and it's that desire that continues to evolve and crave rescue from everyday noise. Here we address the needs to obtain sensorial relief by focusing on exteriors with an extremely low ornamentation and a limited material color contrast. This is to obtain a less intimidating appearance. The architectural stylistic choices here, they'll favor exteriors where colors are used en masse to really make a building appear larger, but more inviting. The main areas are ideal for getaway spots that can foster some rest and calmness while maintaining a sophisticated and a contemporary atmosphere. We're using a healthy balance of grounding dark and softer hues to create a nurturing feeling of equilibrium, balance. Here you see the leathers and the natural wood grains and even some color concretes. They're essential materials to the creation of those islands of serenity. Of course, proper lighting is one of the most important tools to create this safe and protective environment. Harsh lighting, it really feels aggressive, and insufficient lighting can be dangerous. So finding that right balance is very rewarding. Just as an interior designer would layer colors or fabric, lighting designers can use 3 layers of light: an ambient, an access, and a task lighting. It's going to enhance the room's visual appeal. Areas of respite are built into the long corridors to keep patients from feeling overwhelmed during walks. These, along with ample handrails, promote an activity and independence while aiding in that healing process. Some of these areas are located near work alcoves, so patients and staff can interact in a more casual setting. Contrasting colors and materials make those alcoves even more intimate, and it really breaks up the monotony of the space. For treatment units, we see sophisticated materials that are selected for their ability to evoke a calm and easy atmosphere. Tinted gray shades are essentially there to support light neutrals, wood tones, clean whites, and soft greens. So here we look at the joyful approach. Bet you couldn't guess exactly where these colors are going to be utilized. Using a happy color palette in a healthcare space makes it both playful and sophisticated. It relies heavy on a color to create a way to find paths and touches of joyfulness. It's by using unexpected colored juxtapositions. Bright colors are in the stars, and in this palette, they're expressing a carefree spirit. So the ideal way to apply color in this category is in unexpected places and odd combinations, in color blocks, lines, and grids. It can create new applications for an exterior and an interior environment, or in different pops across an otherwise neutral space. Here we look at playful luminosity. Colored translucent materials will pair with light sources to create an enhanced sense of illumination. Rainbow palettes by an artistic juxtaposition of a primary color by way of ombre or gradation, or by some sort of an iridescent sheen. Bold with a touch of sophistication. The exteriors for this theme marry with the best of the traditional neutral color scheme, with the Advent Guard functionality to create an elegant but still gorgeous facade. So these are color play environments. They're taken to the next level and they're heavily applying hues beyond walls, but also on ceilings, floors, and counters to really uplift the user's experience as much as a facilitated way. Circular recessed fluorescent overhead lights, they actually mimic the bubble design on the floor for this patient corridor. This is the Vidant Medical Center, James and Connie Bernard Children's Hospital in Greenville, North Carolina. Our middle picture here, the design concept of children's favorite places, was developed for the pediatrics tower. The element of the sky, garden, play, forest, bench, and space were used and correlated with the floor colors. Making space work for everyone. Designers have now the unique ability to empower staff by integrating smart technology. Enhancing the workplace with such an advancement is a language assistant, biofeedback and voice recognition, room controls, and staff and patient feedback. In this environment, technology equals fun, not stress. While regular materials remain the backbone of this story, it's the specialty materials and the finished that give them their spirit. Therefore, the specialty items, they're meant to be used more sparingly and are the point of focus. So here we see a balance between clinical needs and humanistic needs. It can be achieved by incorporating a holistic design approach that includes art, music, light, and color to further help in the healing process. Amongst new innovative solutions, virtual reality services give us the capability to immerse patients in a space, taking them out of reality altogether. With the help of technology and inspiring design, these environments will be able to be animated and adapted to the needs of children and their families, perhaps in need of a little bit of wonder as they gather their courage. The Children's Hospital experience from arrival to bedside is designed to help balance a child's emotional needs in the face of the challenges that come with illness and hospitalization. Unexplained terrors, sense of guilt, fright, and worry. The Children's Hospital is a place where children should feel normal and connected with nature and everyday life. Bringing in nature-inspired design is a way to foster normalcy and optimism. Kids naturally gravitate towards bolder and happier colors. They feel at ease with a palette that ignites their imagination and is manifesting their natural state of playfulness. Using light and airy design to improve connection, the private patient rooms feature fully glazed doors where these were designed to improve staff observation of the patients. So it's going to bring in daylight into the center of the ward and really help engage families in the care process. After constructing a mock-up of the room, the staff requested adjustable Venetian blinds between the glass panes to address privacy concerns. So what can a ceiling do? Well, it can aid in noise reduction. The physical environment can play a major role in reducing noise levels. It's to improve sleep and mood and create a better pain tolerance. Increasing privacy in inpatient rooms reduces exposure to noise levels that can cause stress and negative health effects. It can also help and aid in stress reduction. Introduction of natural light and views of nature, even via virtual reality, can reduce the perception of pain. Early studies by Roger Ulrich and others noted that pleasant exterior views can help reduce patient length of stay. And it's now well accepted that natural light uplifts patients and families and the staff, regardless of the location within the hospital. So let's look at the simplicity factor of color. Elder L. Tom Perry said, "Today's complexities demand a greater simplicity." The simplicity palette is a real down-to-earth collection. It's built on a mix of almost primary reds and blues, a basic white, earthy browns and greens, and balancing neutrals to communicate a sensible design experience. The Simplicity material collection, for the designers, it's really a mix of both everyday basic materials and uniquely crafty ones. The theme falls primarily into three categories: ultra basic designs, a new nostalgia, and easy nature. In this project, using sensory order as a guiding principle, Suzanne Coates breaks the taboos to create a space far from the conventional, a metaphor that goes from disorder to order through design, materials, and a white organic palette, the latter being the interior designer's distinctive signature. So architectural design for this story, it's going to focus on two primary directions: simplicity and environmentally conscious or sustainability. Many newly built or renovated hospitals and healthcare facilities that are around the globe don't just look after their patients. They look out for the environment as well. These modern state-of-the-art facilities feature a whole host of eco-friendly initiatives. It's from paperless record keeping to energy conservative boilers, green roofs, and on-site power plants. One of my most interesting ones that I researched is the Karimer Radiation Oncology Center. It is going to be the round, looks to be concrete building on the bottom left-hand side. They really did not like the fact of taking a cancer patient underground to a radiation center to give them radiation. They did not want to feel like they were putting them in a hole to receive their treatment. So they didn't want to build that type of facility. They actually brought the oncology radiation services above ground and into the light. Very challenging build, but they made it happen to really allow their patients to have that above ground feeling and have the light that they needed while they were going through their treatments. Interiors make strict use of simple lines, modest materials, and really brightly lit spaces, especially where that square footage is reduced. So windows play a great role in giving rooms light and airy feel. Alan Perlow says, simplicity does not precede complexity. It follows it. Large, well-lit, clean of clutter, the main areas really use all the space to give an impression of order. Function has the lead here with a bias of clean and practical design. The use of basic geometric forms and well-positioned splashes of color, it adds interest while providing a clear sense of organization to the spaces. The use of mid-tone and paler wood essence, it introduces the natural element required to make the space warm and pleasant in an otherwise sterile environment. In those projects, by using the driving principle of sensory order, the design team has actually been able to create an atmosphere of calm. Though practical design, deploying a white and organic palette, and the sturdiness of solid wood, these spaces welcome patients to a resolutionally modern healthcare facility. In our staff areas, we're going to remain basic and modern with a strong inclination towards a functional styling. Color palettes are quite conservative overall, relying heavily on tinted blacks and classic blues for the accent colors. So let's move outside here. For more than a decade, the efficiency of adding a therapeutic outdoor space to healthcare campuses, it's continued to gain traction among all systems. While well-designed landscape elements such as an inviting building entries or healing gardens or even walking trails, sometimes even vegetable gardens, they can lead to better patient health. And these elements can provide or prevent health benefits too. As stated, biophilia as a design principle, there's many opportunities to create spaces that are supportive of this type of an environment, including healing gardens directly connected to the facility, or a vibrant social gateway or plaza with health-focused cafe or outdoor seating. How about a healthcare vegetable garden with a site-grown food for education and it's used in the facility's food service? You can even have an outdoor physical therapy rehabilitation space. Now let's start looking at the classic heritage. So born of the legacy of a classic design, the heritage palette conjures up a sense of ability and competence issued of experience, really. It's serious and solid, and it inspires respect. The full 20 color palette integrates more jewel tones, and it's very elegant with the browns and the material grays. It's really leading themselves to both classic moods or very glamorous ones. Here in this environment, luxury is smart, competent, and inspiring confidence. This is a world of high value purpose. Service is at the top level, and the space must support that promise. The materials of choice are noble and durable. The demand is for the highest quality paired to a distinctive masculine elegance. Brutalist and contemporary. In actuality, the biggest difference between these spaces and typical contemporary dwellings is the hue choice. As blacks, grays, and green grays become more and more prominent for exterior palettes, a new spirit emerges that is ultra sophisticated, yet very protectionist. The design attitude plays with strong lines and repetitive pattern and very blocky shapes. So it's going to be very well appointed. The seriousness of the patient area is conveyed with the equipment and the decor designs. A hotel feel without the really unnecessary ornamentation. High-end equipment and a color palette built on solid neutrals and a very deep classic accent color. The overall palette reads as professional with a high-level sense of style. It's distinguished and powerful. The design of staff areas is meant to express the highest standard of service provided. The effect we want to create is a timeless space that's also supported by the newest technology. In our main areas, it's intended to be very elegant and natural material. It's luxury finishing like marble and brass, and bring that to the main area's decorum. Taking the spaces away from the traditional institution feel to an impressive mix of art and science. In some specialty and sports treatment areas, the heritage design direction with its grounding palette and solid material choices, it really aims to foster the desire to improve, the battle to get better, and the overall competitive nature necessary to participate in a successful rehab or training and sports therapy program. When we look at behavioral and mental health conditions affect 1 in 5 adults in the US each year. And they're even more common among patients receiving care for medical conditions. Up to 45% of patients admitted to the hospital for a medical condition or presenting to the emergency department with a minor injury, they also have concurrent behavior and mental health condition. These BMH conditions increase the risk of psychological harm that's associated with care. Providing these patients with a healing therapeutic environment should be an important goal for health design. Design interventions aimed at improving the psychological well-being of patients with BMH may be more cost-effective than they initially appear. They can be leveraged to support improved well-being for other populations as well, including other patients, staff, and even visitors. Sensory considerations and the use of color in mental health facilities, such as the Southwest Center for Forensic Mental Health, are designed to assist patients in their healing progression. Parkin designers strive to create a more ideal home atmosphere with an emphasis on eliminating the institutional look. Studies have shown there are a number of techniques that can be used to reach this goal. One is to provide a personal space. Residents in a behavioral health facility, they're going to need more personal space than individuals in an average healthcare facility. Using a calm color in seclusion rooms, not white or gray, can really impact stress reduction. Providing soothing artwork and pictures of familiar images, we can introduce the blues and the greens in areas where calming is important, creating the ideal home atmosphere. Therapy spaces should feature soft materials, and the furniture should not imply a power ambiance. Maximizing the use of natural light and providing access to outdoor courtyards and the rooftop terraces to allow patients to connect with nature and the outdoors. Using warm lighting and avoid lighting that is too uniform, meaning that the light doesn't produce shadows. And ways to focus on comfort. So here we can avoid all neutral institutional look by using a simple, soothing, warm accent color on at least one of the walls. We can create isolation rooms that are cozy, inviting, sparsely and safely furnished, which do not look like punitive environments. And the recent study on design research and behavioral health facilities also highlights research showing patients socialize more in newly remodeled ward with bright colors compared to a ward with old and worn out furniture and a dark and dull color scheme. Thank you very much for your attention. That concludes our AIA portion of the presentation. I would like to take just a few minutes to discuss our color tools with you and what we have to offer. We do have our Voice of Color fan deck, which has 2,108 color options. We have a portable designer case, which is a 4x4 sample of all of those color options, and a palette at a glance, which is a binder style book that actually has taken our fan deck apart and put it all in a spiral bound notebook. So you no longer have to worry about taking your fan deck apart and moving stuff around. We also have 8x8 and 4x4 color swatches. You are welcome to order them, or you are welcome to reach out to myself or Dean, and we would be happy to order them for you. We have our PPG Paint Color Eye. This little NYX tool is great. We love it. It will actually take a color of even your blouse and give you the closest PPG color match to that color. We have an architectural library set. It has all 2,108 colors in it in an 8x8 sample form. As always, we have our Global Trends booklet. We have it in a spiral bound book this year, or we do have a digital flip book available. I'm happy to send that out to you. We do have our demographic color research. As I mentioned before, we research things until we are tired of researching. By saying that, we do have support materials for all of our generations. We do have our segment color solutions for residential and commercial projects, and our exclusive color collection from Vincent Wolf. And if you guys will take the time right now, if you would like to receive an IDCEC credit, you can either scan the QR code that is right here on the screen, or you are welcome to email me. My email address is up on the screen. And if you would like to receive your AIA credit and your certificate, please email me your AIA number and your name so that I can get that registered for you and get a certificate over to you. As far as your IDCEC, if you don't have your QR code scanner available, go ahead and email me your IDCEC number and your name, and I will be happy to get that registered for you, as well as get you a certificate.
Great. And Lynsey, there will also be a little survey that pops up at the end of the webinar for people to fill out and make sure they give us their AIA number. We will also get you that list.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. We are happy to register that for you.
All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, throw them in the chat or the Q&A. Lynsey, thanks for a great presentation. And I know we will definitely be hoping to hear from you in the near future to hear all about your exciting research into the color, science of color, color for trauma, that kind of stuff. Not trauma-induced color. That's something different.
Absolutely.
But meanwhile, I hope everybody is having a great afternoon. I don't see any other questions popping into the Q&A or the chat. So if you have anything following along, please feel free to shoot Lynsey an email, or if you want to shoot me or get us an email through the website, we'll make sure to get those questions to Lynsey. Lynsey, thank you very, very much, and I will see you all in May when we will be hearing from Cathedral Stone. So have a great afternoon, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
I can
Thank
turn
you for
my
having us.
camera back on and wave and say bye. Thank you, Lynsey. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.